So basically, almost all schools have a provision for scholarships and funding. You just have to.
So the next question is government subsidized programs. Do you have government subsidized programs for students? Like in Japan, we have subsidized programs for transportation, health insurance too. So do you have such packages in France?
Yes, we do.
Bonsoir, Miss Dara. Thank you for coming.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
Mercy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Akunna, a Nigerian living and studying in Japan. So on this channel, I discuss my life experiences in Japan, living in Japan, studying in Japan, and all other study opportunities. So if this is what you're interested in, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. So guys, today I'm taking you guys outside the shores of Japan, all the way to Europe, to a country called France. So today, to have this discussion, I invited a guest who is studying and living in France. Chidera, please, do you mind introducing yourself?
My name is Chidera Arum. I am living and studying here in France. I'm a master's student of culture and communication at the Université de Bourgogne-Franche-Comté. It's a small city called Dijon, but it's also a city that has interest in the integration of young people from diverse cultural backgrounds. So it's a very great place to study, interact, and live as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So there's something I've noticed. Maybe this is from my own observation though. When Nigerians hear France, what they hear is this beautiful vacation destination, the love city of Paris and the rest of it. I'm not sure people actually see France in the light when they talk about studying abroad. So I'm really interested in that because lately I've been hearing that a lot of opportunities abound there. So please, can you walk me through the application process from start to finish? Like, how did you end up in France? How does one apply?
Okay. So to apply for studies, it's been made easier by the French government because they have an agency or agencies that are located in different parts of the world. These agencies are placed to help students or people who wants to study in France have an easy process, filing their applications, preparing for their visa, at least to some extent with the visa. Another good thing about these agencies is that, normally when students want to apply for schools, they go through agents, private agents mostly. And some of these private agents, they are just, mushroom. They're just trying to make money as well, maybe with some knowledge. And then maybe this student is feeling overwhelmed with the application. They're looking for an agent. So the name of this agent set up by France is Campus France. The name is Campus France. They have a website, a functional website, and they have branch offices in two places in Nigeria. One is in Lagos and one is in Abuja. So I have never been to the one in Lagos, but I passed through the one in Abuja when I was preparing for my application. So depending personally, how I got to know about Campus France is during one of the school fairs they hosted. I've forgotten the company that hosted the school fair, but I went there hoping to see other schools from UK because then I hadn't anticipated I was going to study in France either, like you said. I'd never considered to study in France. I never considered to live in France. But when I went for the school fair, I saw other schools in the UK, America, with their representatives there in Abuja. Then a lady gave me a key holder, and I saw Campus France, and then they were advertising some schools about for studying fashion, masters, MBA, luxury product management, them high brand courses. So I actually applied to the schools in UK and America, the ones I saw there. I disregarded Campus France actually. But the key holder was always in my handbag when I'm going to work. And I'm like, what is this? So one day I decided to look up Campus France, and then I saw, oh, okay. When you want to go through Campus France, I will advise that you make calls, call the number you find on the website. I think it is easier, although it can be bugging for the staff, because there are some people who think these are the people that give you visa, so they're always bugging. The lady that handled my application, then she made me understand that, don't call me by this time. People are always calling, but the good thing about calling directly is that, there are some information you may not readily find on the internet. So there are two ways to go about your application. It's either you already have a school in mind that is in France, or you don't have any school in mind, but you want to study in France. Then you can go to them directly, and they can explain to you, okay, these are the schools that you can apply to, you understand? But then on Campus France also, there is a particular link where you can find all the schools, basically all. I wouldn't say that's all, but they have quite a large number of libraries when it comes to schools in France and what you can study. And from the list is also clickable. So you click on the link of the school, it takes you to the school's website. So it makes it quite easier to research. So but before I went to Campus France, I already had a school in mind, because I was like, okay, Campus France, let me visit them. But then I started researching schools on my own, which is what I normally do. So I already had a school in mind. And that's when I was sure that Campus France is my only agency for preparing for this. Other agents at the time had already told me, oh, if you're going for visiting, that we can help you, but for school, no. But they didn't tell me about Campus France. So that's one of the things you may not know about Campus France until you are told about Campus France. Yeah. So when you make the calls, you have to book an appointment. You really have to book an appointment. They may not give you all the information over the phone, but at least I like to establish contact by calls. So it helps me get more clarity. So you have to book an appointment. And when you go for your appointment, you can meet the lady and tell them whatever whatever necessary, depending on your level. Yeah. So for me, they helped me. I wouldn't call it help. They don't do everything for you, but at least they give you guidance. So you are the one to provide all the documents you need to provide. So it also depends on the kind of course you are going for. Is it a course taught in English, taught in French? Because if it's a course taught in French, you have to prove your French fluency. And there are different levels of French fluency. Yes. So my course is taught in English. So if it's taught in English, you don't necessarily need to prove your English fluency. That's one of the good things about studying in European schools that are not English, Sometimes they don't require your English fluency, but it's also good to arm yourself with these documents, because some schools can be different with what they're asking for. Yes, so that's we prepared my document. Their help, they guided me to the point of preparing my documents for the visa as well, which is good.
Yes,
because it's not just about gaining admission. You want to gain admission, and you also want to get the visa. So yeah. So, but they don't guarantee you that you get the visa.
Definitely.
Because the lady just looks at your document. Okay, you can go with this. And then on the day you get your interview at the embassy, you go to the embassy on your own. So I also think another good part is that when I got to the embassy, I also saw the lady that
was guiding you.
They wouldn't tell you these things, right? They wouldn't tell you these things. Like I said again, so you don't keep bugging them. But no, this is like a spoiler right now.
Okay.
But, you never can say things could change. I mean, this was happening 2020. 2020. So a couple of things must have changed. So, but this is my own personal experience. So I got there, but even when I saw her at the embassy, it was to confirm, okay, yeah, your documents without the smiley face. I don't know you from Adam, just go for it.
Being
Yeah,
professional.
so yes. So then depending on who is going to grant your interview, it's like when the lady was preparing me, she advised me, don't fret. I mean, all your documents, bank statements, everything is real. So don't be jittery, because then
Yes.
I've never done these things before.
Mm.
I've heard about people being denied. So I'm like,
Mm.
how do I compose myself? Or so she told me to just calm down. And so yes, I went on with it. And then I got my visa luckily, I think after 1 month, 3 weeks or
Okay.
something. Yes, and voila, I'm here.
That's good. So still on this,
Yeah.
what are the commonly required documents? I know there's no blanket solution or blanket documents for all schools, but what are those commonly required documents that you need to apply to either grad school or undergrad, or basically grad school since you're in grad school?
Yes. Okay, so basically for grad school, you will need to prove, depending on the program you are going for. Some programs would require a particular level of CGP. Yes,
Okay, okay.
CGP, yes,
CGPA.
grade maybe 2.1, 2.2,
Okay.
yes.
Hmm.
Mm, some schools may say explicitly this is what they are looking for. Some schools may not state it. So it's how you can crack this is by calling the school. The admin lines are open. You can, I did that, buy some good airtime, call the number. Yes, it's intentional number, but like I said, I prefer hearing voices. It doesn't always work
That's
out for
reading
me, but
emails.
it also works out for me. So I would call and ask. So sometimes they will tell you, oh, we require this, but you can still apply. Maybe you're lucky. That's a political statement, but
Yeah.
because you understand. So you need your transcript. You need your transcript. You need your certificate.
Yes.
Um, that's your diploma or your bachelor's degree. You need that. Then, like I said before, if the school requires French proficiency,
Proficiency.
English proficiency, you need to put that in. You need to provide the recommendation letters. Now it depends on the school too. Some will request for a recommendation letter from your work or from your school, or both can be from your school. I've never seen both from your work anyway. They may ask 2 academic references or work reference and academic reference. So you need to arm yourself with at least have those relationships, people that can give you these documents. And then these documents must not be given by family.
Of course.
You understand?
Yes.
So I know I did some good work for my siblings' company, and I was thinking, oh, you give me this, but then, oh, it doesn't have to be given by family, because my sibling is the boss, and then they'll have to put their name, and
Put in good word
when
for
they
you.
see the same song is.
Yes.
So I was advised to no, fine. But I also had a 9 to 5 at the time, so my boss gave me but I thought my sister would just quickly give me the. So then you also need to write your motivation letter. Depending on the school also, it could be a letter or an essay. For my school, because the nature of my study is learning to create projects for international and European cultural environment. So part of my motivation essay was to write about the projects I would love to create, the projects maybe I have created in the past. So I wrote about some projects I have created in the past, even though they weren't cultural per se, but it's a step into that passion of I want to learn how to create projects. Yes. So maybe on an intentional level now. So mine wasn't a motivation letter. it was like a summary of my project or my project ideas. So depending on the school, your program, it could be different. But these things are basic. You have to provide your diploma, your transcript, your language proficiency, your recommendation letters, your essay. I think essay is compulsory. So it depends on the form it's called. Yes. Yeah. So basically that. Then for payment, some schools may require you pay a fee, an application fee.
Yes.
Some schools may not. My school didn't.
Okay.
Which is one of the things I look out for. I'm not always quick to pay for application fees because maybe you have 5 schools. Not because I wouldn't, but maybe you have 5 schools you want to apply to. I like to have options. So I'm paying some euros here and there. For
they don't come cheap.
So yeah, so I put these things into consideration when I was applying. So, but if you have a good school, you want to pay the money, get your school, Don't be like some of us. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Those are the documents, basically, yeah.
Okay, so still on Money Talks, I want to ask about funding. I know when I was preparing for this video, I did some research, and then I heard that in France, you have some maybe organizations that offer funding to students. You have the apprentissage. Please pardon my French.
It again, sorry.
Apprentissage, something like apprentice.
Apprentissage.
Thank you. And the rest of them.
Oh, you got it.
How often does one get this funding? Like, does it come with all schools, or are there separate pages for it? How do we come about scholarship and funding?
Okay, so basically, almost all schools have a provision for scholarships and funding. You just have to see if what they can give resonates with you, with your profile, with your grades, because most times scholarships, when you say scholarships, it's a thing of brilliance, how excellent are your grades, or how you can prove that you are the student to be funded, and that's quite a tedious task for me. I don't know why I'm so nonchalant about some of this, but yes. So if you believe that you are the student to be funded, either by the excellence of your grades or by your person, what you have in your head, or what you've done in the past, or I've seen people who got scholarships not from their grades, but maybe they've done projects that really resonates with these studies. You can go for it. Then for what you mentioned, if we are talking about the same thing, apprentissage is not it's not really the kind of funding you start with.
Okay.
You understand? So apprentissage comes in when you're already studying, and then you have some months, from 6 months to, basically from 6 months to do they call it stage. Either stage, apprentissage, all this stuff, they kind of mean internship.
Yes, gaining industrial experience.
Yes, it's a matter of your area of study, because sometimes apprentissage is like an apprentice. You understand? You are learning on the work. You get stage is an internship. Then they have alternance as well. Some weeks in school, some weeks at work. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So, but these are not concepts that you are familiar with before you start. It's concepts you are familiar with when you've started the program. So I wouldn't say you should rely on things like stage, apprentissage, alternance to fund your studies. You understand? They are not but the kind of funding you get for these things are, the stipends that keeps you rolling while you are working on, of which the government has some basics, some depending on the age. I mean, if you're over 30, yes, if you're over 29, you understand, you may not benefit from from some of these schemes. You understand? It's for people who are a certain
younger
age.
Okay.
Yes, like I said, it also depends. You understand? But this one is the one I'm sure. So, but for funding, like I have told people who came to ask me directly how they could study in France, and this is the reality. One question I ask, which has two answers. Do you want to study in France because you want to study and you are prepared to study, or are you looking at France as a place where you can study and work to support your study? If that is the option, if the second is the option, I'm not promising you that it's going to be feasible, especially when you don't speak the language. I mean, and that's the catch for almost all European countries, apart from Britain, which speaks English. But every European country, like, I mean, I told myself, I don't even know how I came to France, because I don't speak French.
I think we're in the same boat. I actually ask myself some questions. How did you end up in Japan when you don't even speak hello or good morning in Japanese before coming here?
France. Yeah. And I never thought about France. So sometimes I'm like, how did I get
end up here?
But like I said, my studies are in English. I was fond of creating some small charity projects back then. So it was a catch. I loved the course, I wanted to. So it's in English. So, and I could afford the school. So I started, right?
Yes.
So, but then I could afford the school. So, and even though I could afford the schooling, I wouldn't still say it was rosy because, I came during the COVID period. There was this lockdown, and it's my first time traveling. Euro, I was still calculating euro in naira. So,
of course,
so it still wasn't easy for me. I made a lot of money mistakes.
Exactly.
I lost money,
That transition is quite difficult.
Yes. When I spent maybe a particular amount of money doing maybe stay, because there was a time I had accommodation issues, I had to stay in a hotel, So, and I'm like, hey, how did I spend all this money? So, so for funding, what I'm trying to say is that you have to be prepared financially, like every other thing. Else, you're going to run into problems that, will make you start wishing you never started. But then don't give up. I mean, I still have to say it. I'm not a gate crasher. I don't like to be one. Somebody that says you can't enter. No. If your gut say do it, do it with what you can, yes. But if you want a smooth ride for you, either you have the money to study, or just find another country where you can understand the language so that you can work and study at the same time. Then also for funding, there is a program called Erasmus. Okay.
Yes.
My studies are not directly under Erasmus. What I mean by directly is that there are some people who gain Erasmus scholarships.
Yes.
Okay. So this I have been told by beneficiaries. So I benefited from Erasmus, but it's not my preliminary funding. You get, you still need to have, but there are some people who gain Erasmus funding. So what is Erasmus? Erasmus is a program that helps European students or international students studying in Europe the opportunity to travel Europe while studying. So the closest thing we have in Nigeria is NYSC, although it's different, but that's at least the closest thing we have. So Erasmus gives you some money when you go to another European country to study. So, but there are also many other fundings that are available. So you just go to the Erasmus website. So maybe you see other fundings they have. It's not all courses that has Erasmus, but maybe on the Erasmus website, you could find what they sponsor and see how it helps you. Then for my course, my Erasmus funding came in between my first year, after some months in school. And like I said, depending on your course, my course is one that requires mobility.
Yes.
So because like I said, you create projects for international Europe. So there's a need to move
around, yes.
So that mobility took me to Romania.
Okay.
So while in Romania, you have to sign some documents with the faculty, and they have to be sure that you are there. So, but these are not monies that you rely on to pay tuition. That's why it's not, but it's funding anyway. So, but these are not monies you rely on. So they calculate how many days you are going to be there. You understand? And they give you money based on the cost of living there. You understand? So they already have a formula for calculating this thing. So if you're going to be in European countries with higher cost of living, yours will be bumped a bit higher, but then you are spending that much too. So it's not like
you're saving.
So, but then even while I got some Erasmus funding, it's still good to have your money. But because I remember at some point, my family was also supporting me during that period. So it also depends on your lifestyle too. If you're large enough.
Yes.
So basically, these are the things I know about funding. But then you can always try scholarships. You can always try. There's also something about funding. I don't know how well schools do it here in France, but I've seen it done in the UK. Paying on installments.
Yes.
A friend once told me, he schools in the south of France. He told me that he pays his tuition on installments, and it's a bulk money, I think around 24,000 euros. So because I'm like, how are you able to, did you pay this money at once? So he's like, no, I can pay on installments. So, but sometimes you may not find this information on the website. So you can call the school and see if there's a way. Yes. Yes, that's for international students that are coming in, right? But then for people who already live in France, there are some studies that maybe if you are working already, if you are working in a company, or they may allow you to pay in bits, like maybe 200 euro per month. You see, it's easier for you, you understand? Yes. Then another way to get your education funded, which is also very important, is your French fluency, okay? There are lots of courses in French that come almost free.
Okay.
I wouldn't say for free, but maybe you pay something they call student contribution, which at the end of the day is not up to 200 euros or is not up to 500 euros, depending. So you pay for student contribution, and then you pay for your hostel, you sort your feeding. So, but the courses that I've seen more with this benefit are taught in French. So I think this is a very good opportunity for Nigerians or French speakers. People who have learned French, can speak French fluently. Yeah. You can look for these courses, and what are the odds? Yeah, you can get funded, or yes, you're not getting funded, but you're not spending that much. On studying. Yes. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
It's good you mentioned the whole French language thing, because that leads me to my next question. I know the official language is French. So how do you communicate with locals? Your program is an English writer, right? But do the locals speak English or French?
Like somebody told me that my dedication to learning French is amazing. And I must tell you, you have to love the language and be dedicated to learning the language, because the citizens here are not English speakers, and I wouldn't blame them for not speaking English, because it's like schooling in, my village, Awan, it's in, you understand? Then the next shop, you want to go buy something, and then you're telling the woman, why don't you speak English? Hello. Because some people are like, why is it that they don't speak English? I used to feel that way. It was frustrating the first time I came. Mind you, it was also the COVID.
I know.
I was on lockdown. So you see a shop that is open and then you want to buy bread. Then you are using your translator.
Yeah.
Why don't you speak English? and then they give you this weird look when you don't speak French. I'm like, who is this?
Oh my God.
So it can
Totally
really
understand.
yeah, it can really be frustrating. Like I know when I started having the courage to at least say bonjour, you know, like, and then somebody even told me my accent saying bonjour matters. You know, you don't just tell somebody
Yes.
bonjour.
Bonjour.
You know, you say something like
Exactly.
bonjour. You know, you have to put that's joy.
Yeah.
So so for the language, you really need to if you come study in France on an English course and you want to live in France and you want to interact and you feel like this is your place, you need to learn the language. And like I said, my school is in a small city. My school is not in Paris, it's not in Lyon, Marseille, that's the bigger cities. So you really need to understand French to interact to that
Yes, the
extent.
locals. Okay.
Yeah. But then there are just some basic words. You need to have your translator, Google Translator, Depot, no matter the one you use. You can type some things quickly and say things in the shop. You understand? And another thing about the indigenous that speak English is they may understand English, but they're not eager to speak it,
Speak.
especially when they know that I'm not good yet.
Fluent. Yeah.
So they may not be eager to speak the language, so you don't blame them when maybe you say maybe some one of these this can be very frustrating. You tell somebody, oh, do you speak English? They're like, no, no. But how
But
do
you just
you
said
know I
no, no.
asked you to speak English? Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not their fault that
Yeah.
I mean, like if somebody wants to talk to me immediately in French right now, I wouldn't be so eager because I don't know if I'm going to say it right or you know. And yeah, so that's my point.
So the next question is government subsidized programs. Do you have government subsidized programs for students? Like in Japan, we have subsidized programs for transportation, health insurance too. So do you have such packages in France?
Yes, we do.